And we get to pick up right where we left off, coming in hot here for the FNCS Grand Finals Day 2. It'll be, of course, Monster D-Face and the best Taco back on the mic. Taco, are you ready to pick up the pace here again?
Look, MDF, after witnessing the greatness that took place in EU earlier today, I have never been more excited, especially when you factor in, just as the analyst has told, our top 10 here today. It's going to be a lot of work to maintain it.
We talked a lot about how things worked for players yesterday, what all went right. However, we didn't really get to dive. There isn't enough time to dive into the adjustments. What will players do today as we start to come in? Who's going to have the better strategies here? For Baka and Pars, it seems like they're going straight to their trusty drop 50-50 and just go for it. Attack, as is Aaron and company. And for game one, Baka Pars a little bit sharper here as they managed to get the eliminations off the drop, which is fantastic for the pacing here for Baka Pars. Had they not actually been eliminated those two games, we'd see them very well also inside that top 5, which is a scary sight to think about how, again, how well contested teams are playing today, Taco.
Probably one of my favorite parts about these two-day formats, MDF, is the fact that after the conclusion of day 1, whenever you actually take to socials and you start sifting through the things that everyone is saying, and the only message that seemed to be unanimously shared with all of our North America competitors is they just wanted to play here today. The excitement, the amount of tension that really started to develop, because it's like that moment where things sink in. You conclude game number 6, and then remember, you still have a fresh 6 to work with. But the point multiplier is what's really going to, I think, determine the actual pacing here today. And we are seeing some teams trying to make those necessary adjustments, trying not to find themselves elim too early on, even if they are contested at their drops, like Day and Redux.
That's right, a win is going to mean even more, but an early elimination is going to hurt that much more as well. So pacing is going to be incredibly important here today. All in all, right now, Day and Redux have a lot of rethinking, recalibrating to do, as yesterday was not the performance that they were looking for. And right now, we're seeing a much better Day here, ending his battles fast and swift alongside Redux. And this is the type of movement we expected to see from them early on, and so far so good. So well played for Day and Redux as they pick up a nice set of eliminations. On the other side, Cold and Acorn pressing the gas pedal here as well up against Mason and Npen, and Mason's downed. He's not even going to go for any type of trickery there, but get the full finish instead, quickly wrapping up the battle, and Npen's just left running here. And let's not forget, Muzz and Paper are just to the north, so for a full-on head-to-head clash, this is a little bit uncharacteristic of Cold and Acorn's early drop as far as what we've seen so far.
But this is the result of Cold and Acorn. They recognize the fact Mason and Npen, they were actually the first duo to take the Society Medallion here at Fencing Fields. You can see Cold now with that Mythic Striker in his loadout. That's an unfortunate circumstance as well for Npen, because not only does he have to wait until Cold and Acorn are through digging into the vault, taking all the best loot, he's also just going to be super delayed in terms of trying to find a search strategy now, because when you're operating as a solo, you can't really afford to try and exchange damage this early on when the only focus you have is just recovering your teammate.
And with no eliminations, actually, Taco, what are the chances that they were winning the engagement, but the NPC got the last tag?
Tick.
It might have actually happened, because you did see there was an AI under the ramp, and I thought at first that was surely Npen, but no, it was just an AI. I believe they have been essentially bested by the AI for the knock. And they won't get the elimination credit early on, but they still do, of course, get to reap all the rewards and the benefits of the engagement either way.
6 points farmed by the NPC instead of Cold. But that is, it's still tragic, but that's definitely an elim that Acorn and Cold are likely going to look to try and recover elsewhere. At the very least, they still managed to get their way into the vault. You see these teams now, Peterbot, Pollo, Ritual, trying to prioritize these forecast towers, making sure to protect them as well, just getting set up super early on, because you have to anticipate that there's going to be at least one other team that's going to look to challenge some of our duos setting up base around these forecast towers.
Yeah, definitely. And Peterbot and Boyo, I like this little angle that Boyo's holding here, even waiting to put the ramp out. But unfortunately doesn't get the tags that he is looking for. You can see Peterbot's positioned likely on the other side of this mountain as well, just trying to hold the outskirts of the zone here. So it's not just about getting, of course, the forecast tower, but it is equally important to continue to maintain your surge status here. And this is why they're getting active there on the outskirts. We jump onto the other side of Yamzo and Rise, and this is a very interesting situation here, as they don't realize that there is a team inside the bush just above Rise. It's Edgy, it's Tavern. We've seen Edgy and Tavern play incredibly ready yesterday up against Acorn and everyone else here at the farms. And yep, you can see they're right in the same spot more or less, but they've been spotted out by another duo, and Rise should surely get all the information he needs here at this point.
And not just that, but I believe Yamzo maybe even saw some of the walls that were being placed by Edgy and Tavern. The bush not able to provide total coverage from that. So Rise definitely proceeding a little bit more cautiously here with trying to collect some mats. At least has max brick. Now just trying to prioritize some of that wood. But for teams to just stay so postured, so aware, and a team like Yamzo and Rise especially, when you factor in, this is their 5th FNCS Grands as a team, and the 4 that they've competed in together already, their placements have consistently been within the top 10. It's almost like you can tell that they're just trying to play this one out exactly how they did yesterday, because that's what resulted in them finding the first half of this Grands in that first place position, leading on the leaderboard today.
Well, one team that's not playing at all like they were yesterday is Day, as he picks up Quanti and Baila, whom, by the way, I'm fairly certain was doing pretty well pacing as far as their overall points are going yesterday. So for the 1.5x multiplier Day, teams like Day and Redux already turning online. It's going to show you how impactful it's going to be to their overall scoring. For Cooper and Miro, they're in a bit of a standoff, but look who's getting even more active. It's Clicks, Epic Whale, who's jumping right into it. This is I feel like a repeat clash up against the WTJ duo here at the Rebels Roost. This is one of the teams that Clicks and Epic have comfortably taken as far as fights have gone yesterday, and they do have the overall wins across this duo here. But no, Clicks and Epic, just like yesterday, not interested in sticking around over welcoming with their stay here. They get a couple tags. If they don't get the elimination right away, they pretty much disengage.
Clicks and Epic have certainly had a tendency to kind of stray this way over towards Rebels Roost. Again, knowing that there is usually at least 1 or 2 other teams for them to try and find some of that surge tag damage on. But Clicks is right there with you, MDF. He recognizes the fact this is not an engagement I need to force, and essentially we'll just back off. Don't know if he was able to really exchange many shots before we tapped into his perspective, but check back in later on to see how he's faring. Right now, Pars, Baka, they just want to confirm their cash, but they've got to deal with the likes of Peterbot and Poyo first. Builds definitely favoring Pars and Baka, though, given that they've already got that cash recovery going. Peterbot trying to do what he can to break into Pars' box, but it's Pars doing an excellent job just keeping him at bay. Baka, on the other hand, needs a little bit too much damage from Poyo, so temporary fall back. It's going to put Pars into the holding wall responsibility here. Another shot exchange. Peterbot, Poyo definitely getting some very consistent surge damage online here. Even if they can't recover the cash, they might be able to find these eliminations instead. Poyo gonna apply some good pressure, but finally Baka with the response, pushing Poyo even further back. Peterbot now forced to resync with Poyo. They've got to utilize this Flowberry Fizz as a team. They both want their shields to get a little bit of regen online. But Baka, Pars, that cash definitely helping them as far as trying to establish whether they want to go for a further engagement here at Peter and Pollo. Peter and Pollo are going to answer that for them.
What an absolutely, I was going to say, what an absolutely intense fight between our 5th and 7th place duos going straight head-to-head. And not only that, no trickery involved. It was a clean, all-out box fight. You saw that. This is a singular layer high. It wasn't 2 stories, wasn't anything extra. Just a clean, high-level fight. You love to see it. Well, while this is all happening, there's plenty of action happening everywhere as well. Want to keep you completely dialed in. Take a look at how Rise and Yamzo are continuing to find themselves in the mix here. Yamzo jumping in. You have down bodies of Bacon and TK here off to the side. Other teams fighting south the Ruin Reels, but they don't care. The grapple hook is going to allow them to close the distance, get their eliminations, get the finishes, and more importantly, set themselves up for success here. And Yamzo and Rise are that sleeper duo to keep an eye out on, as they have the most victory royales this weekend so far.
TK, though, probably kicking himself for that one. Not sure what led to the fall in the first place, but the fall damage is going to be what sparked that initial knock. And Yamzo and Rise, they're all for it. I mean, when you get a freebie elimination served up to you like that, MDF, don't know many teams that wouldn't look to try and follow up with even further pressure. Tough start to the day. Bacon and TK as well, just encountering some very unique struggles in their day 1 competition, but it's the mental fortitude, I think, at this point that could really be the ultimate separating factor between the top end of that leaderboard and the bottom half. And Muzz Paper, they're certainly not a team that's going to be content with their current 10th place standing. They want to pack a punch, and they want it to start here in game number 7. You can see Muzz, how adamant he's being, constantly scoping their area to see if there is a possibility for them to look for a little bit of follow-up. They can get even 1 tag online, a shield crack. That's all it takes for teams to feel comfortable with them trying to apply more pressure.
Seen it time and time again. But for Pump and Sphinx right now, they have a bit of an issue right now. They've decided to kind of play this edge line. However, they're one of the only teams on the further side of it, and they have too many duos positioned inside the Ruin Wheels with arguably stronger positions here. So not too sure if Pump and Sphinx are going to actually be able to get as active as they would like. And this is a 9th place duo, just ahead of Muzz and Paper. It's one of the few chances Pump might actually have to find a tag, and if he doesn't hit it, they'll just be slipping behind. But back to Pars and Baka, the action doesn't stop here as they continue to fight for theirs. Polarized and Def don't want anything to do with this duo. I think they might have recognized the skill set behind Baka and Pars. Sometimes you could just tell, you know, this team is dangerous, and with how they fended off Peterbot earlier just a couple moments ago here at this exact spot, I wouldn't be surprised if Baka and Pars are playing above average or just about primed, right, as far as what we can expect from them.
Baka and Pars are essentially in a never-ending box fight, it feels like, with the lobby. Just every time we look at them, they are constantly being challenged, either for their position or just for that forecast tower, sometimes even the combat cache. But obviously here, leading into the 4th zone, Ritual and Reet, we saw how well they were able to establish their positioning in some of those end games with that forecast tower knowledge, but the focus right now is going to be on Clix and Epic Whale. Hello? Whether or not Clix has been able to connect with some early sniper shots, as Vivid already called out earlier today. This man led in individual player damage on day 1 of Grands, and he's looking to try and do it again. Spicing things up here between Cam and Minish, but Clix just dancing back and forth between these wall holds. And Minish gonna eat some decent tags there. Mythic Frenzy just proving to be a little bit better in these kinds of close-face circumstances, but Clix still trying to be wary. Doesn't want to find himself too split from Epic. He definitely wants to make sure that his duo can help support him in this circumstance.
And I'm starting to wonder if whether or not they're disengages in the early game and picking up different fights with all types of other duos is attributing to the damage that, you know, he was able to lead with compared to other teams yesterday. But this right here, this seems like an all or nothing type situation, and other teams are now starting to look inwards. So this is Not the cleanest battle, especially for someone like Clix and Epic Whale, who have been very strategic with what teams they decide to fight. Most of their 2v2s have been isolated. They've been unaffected by third parties, and they've been very deliberately chosen. However, with the pressure of the Storm Surge here, this one feels just a little bit different.
But on that note, Clix and Epic, even if they had that medallion to exchange and get their shield back up to full for the most part, Clix and Epic, they know that they've got at least two teams trying to hold them. Try and use that crash pad to rotate out. Yamzo, on the other hand, now Hound, Aiden, trying to do what they can, but it almost seems as if there's another team taking notice. No, it's actually just that surge damage with the assist there for Yamzo and Rise, but still another big collection piece for Yamzo and Rise. Just more points being added on to the total count.
We were just talking about, you know, having to pick a fight with a duo. You want to be strategic, you want to be deliberate. Well, this time, Clix has no idea. This is Peterbot and Boyo they're pushing here. Could be their worst nightmare. Could be the one duo that potentially slows them down. They do have to be careful here as Peterbot and Boyo perform exceptionally well in these types of situations. A very, very tenured box fight 2v2 type team. Let's see it though. They're going all in. They kind of have to, so Clix is likely making the call here. We have to do this. And they are putting on the pressure. Peterbot and Boyo recognizing that they don't have to rush into this. And they are slowly fighting on the back foot, and Epic Whale gets punished first as Peterbot counter fires with the SMG. It just does so much damage if you hit those headshots. And Clix putting up an incredibly great defense here as Peterbot is hurt, Boyo is hurt, and Clix successfully defends off in a 2v1 right now and continuing the pressure here, but he's got to save his teammate, and instead Epic drops the mats for Clix. What is happening right here? So Clix is actually going to go for this fight here instead of playing for the pickup. Might be a fatal error, but the punishment is so good, and Clix does it again.
Clix is actually putting in so much work right now. Might have dealt just enough damage. Peterbot, Boyo, they've got to reconsider. This is no longer a battle they can stay active in. Clix with the revive of the century. Their game one extension that Clix just managed to buy for himself and Epic Whale is massive, because Epic should have been elim by rights there to Boyo and Peterbot had it not been for Clix. But you can see here in the replay, Peterbot, such a sick angle onto Epic. He's so focused on Boyo, loses track of the line of sight that Peterbot had while Epic was looking for that right side peek, and just really well played. But even better still was Clix, because at the end of the day, he came in for the rescue and it played off.
This is like an absolutely incredible situation to be in for Peterbot and Boyo, who have heavy mats, so they'll be able to like bounce back, but they don't have heals. But Cooper and Miro fall to Clix and Epic Whale, who, by the way, had no material, so they make another desperate play to jump in on a team. In fact, we get to watch that back one more time. Take a look at what happens here. They crash pad in, they see Cooper building, they see shots coming in, and right into the box, Clix gets inside, and then they push down Miro, who was in the bush next door. You just cannot prepare for that untimely demise of a duo landing on you, and Clix and Epic Whale have just completely shut down the momentum of, you know, arguably some of their biggest competition, the global champions.
I would even wager that Clix and Epic Whale managed to sabotage Boyo and Peterbot. You can see Boyo trying to get the revive off now onto Peterbot, but they were stuck in that engagement, in that box fight with Clix and Epic for so long, and Clix forcefully expended all of the heals just about from Boyo and Peterbot. Now, look at them, absolute shambles. 18 builds here for Peterbot, no heals. If they want to get their HP back, it's going to come as a result of winning an engagement with another team. But the odds of doing that from their current position, held outside of the zone, knowing that since it's pulling north side, they're going to be stuck in the congestion towards the south. This is going to be a difficult rotate for Peterbot and Boyo, and they won't have the benefits necessarily of being able to get to front side immediately. It is going to be a grapple blade rotation. Thought for a moment that it might have been Flowberry Fizz into this final crash pad. Peterbot instead, a little bit of trouble, spotted out, but will manage to use this natural cliff face as some slight protection. Still has to make it through the teams above and below him, though.
What's crazy about all this as well is that Yamzo and Rise just literally got all that pressure alleviated off of them. The pressure of having Cooper and Miro riding your tail, right? As far as the points are concerned. And for Peterbot and Boyo, I mean, they are in such a desperate situation right now that if they don't jump on a team immediately, they might not have a chance to do so later. So here it is. It's going to be all or nothing. Trashy gets chunked with a huge tag there, but Boyo gets white tagged as well. And if Peterbot can't find this elimination, I'm not sure if he ever will. But the server starts to turn in on Trashy, and I love that he just waits. He says, wait a second, let everyone else do the work. All we have to do is get the material. That is what they need right now, is material, not necessarily the eliminations here. They need to stay alive for placement point, more importantly, of course. Oh, but look, it's Yamzo and Rise right below them. This is just not going to get any easier.
It's such a familiar position, too, to see Yamzo and Rise trying to control the low ground. They will successfully manage to pick up the loot that they so desperately needed off of that elim, but at the same time, they still have to keep things moving, and it's not like it was an exorbitant amount of mats either. Peterbot and Pollo most certainly going on the hunt still to see if they can secure another elimination, another refresh, because that's what they still need more than anything else. And without Ritual, as a solo, trying to still pose a little bit of a threat here, just taking advantage of all the teams rotating ahead of him, getting some shots out for surge tag damage, but trying to be wary, kind of hanging towards that backside of the zone as well. Still gonna build up for height though, which
he needs tags. Yeah, he's going for it. I absolutely respect it. And look, all of our top teams are just in so much trouble. Cold and Acorn now left as a solo once again. Cold here looking like a repeat performance of yesterday, where Cold was left to try to clutch out an end game by himself, and luckily for him, he does have plenty to work with. While this is all happening, while he lost Acorn in this process, Cold did pick up 2 late game eliminations. Take a look at how that played out. It's Vorteca with a instant delete here from the flank. That legendary rifle doing so much damage here when it's properly set up, and then someone lands in his box. Oh my gosh. WTJ's higher gets mounted immediately, and look at this, Taco. Now we're getting into endgame. This is where all those placement points start to add up.
There are so many solos running rampant right now. Cole, just another part of the tally count here, opens up his cone to find a massive shot onto Kanata. Kanata, though, wary of the fact that he had a player directly underneath him, will pause for a moment as Cold immediately grappling towards that front left side of zone. Just trying to stay ahead of all the crowd, all the action. Still making sure to look back, though. Get some good damage applied. Forever Zone Wars correctly. Now finding themselves on the receiving end of Cold. And Cold, he's not going to let this go anytime soon. That's 1 elimination already. But it's actually going to be Skater who snipes that one away from Cold. What looked like another confirmed 6 points is now just going to result in a placement attempt.
The way Cold is putting down these players right now, I mean, it is looking like Cold is absolutely primed up right now. He's playing so well. And look, even going to go for the smart placement play here just to go ahead and hold it out. Really allow things to happen in front of him here. He's going to buy himself plenty of time. And somehow, Ree is still alive. Listen up. Don't forget, these are worth 1.5x placement points and eliminations as well. So every single moment and opportunity right now for every team that falls here, it is just so much more important. Reed's movement is incredible as he is parkouring back and forth here, editing this weakened structure here just to stay alive. And Cole too, as a solo, is holding on. The script cannot be written any differently right now. All of the teams that needed to have those comeback opportunities have literally been granted this chance to do so, as the top have fallen and the other top 10s have risen essentially in this moment here. And look at Cold go. Down goes Tavern, the healthiest of the duo. And can he get one more? But no, the zone takes him out.
But Reap managed to pick up Bugha, who was just trying to pickaxe the wall behind him. Still tough to make a run as a solo. Yamzo and Rise, that's why they're still hanging out on the low ground. But Crisp with a knock there. Yamzo feeling pretty good about that one. Still looking to see if he can collect Polarized too, part of the process, but losing Rise. Solo situation. Yamzo can't hold on any longer. Polarized gets the better end of that exchange. But now Clix, Epic Whale, down for the count. But Clix in a 1 versus 2 situation. Can he find it? The Mythic Frenzy just short of getting the shots that he needed. But I'll tell you what, MDF, the team that just won this Victory Royale here to start the day off with game number 7, those are some massively needed leaderboard points.
And it's worth so much more. So this is how the comeback arc begins for some duos, and more importantly, how the race takes off for others. The fact that Yamzo and Rise were still alive in that game, incredible. But the solo performances from Cold, from well, even the likes of Clix and Epic, who came in as a duo to put themselves in the conversation, to remain relevant in the tournament, even for Death and Polarized now, they are very much a contender inside the top 5. The points have just gotten so condensed that I'm afraid the leaderboard is gonna be looking extremely spooky. It is definitely not gonna be the same.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I saw a tweet from Death, the start of the day here, MDF. He said top 5 or nothing at all. Maybe it was top 10, but either way, they've got their eyes on the prize, and it's certainly making it to the top of the leaderboard. That 100 points on top of the points accrued from the elimination count, bound to have a very beneficial impact from their current standing. But there's only one way we can find that out for sure, MDF, and it's with Zeke, Vivid, and Kelly on the desk.